Welcome to Big Blend Radio with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazine.com.
Welcome to Big Blend Radio's First Friday Toast to the Arts and Parks show with Nancy Reed and Lisa Smith, the crazy mother-daughter travel team and publishers of 2 digital publications. We have Big Blend Radio and TV magazine, that is our variety publication, as well as Parks and Travel magazine, which obviously covers parks and travel, as well as our Love Your Parks tour, where we are traveling full-time on a quest to visit and document all the parks and public lands that we possibly can. You can keep up with everything Big Blend. Just go to bigblendmagazines.com. Now, we're very excited to have playwright and librettist, I hope I'm saying this word right, Olejniczak join us on today's show. He is the latest National Parks Arts Foundation Artist in Residence in Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. In fact, he is the very first playwright accepted into this program, which I think is exciting. You know, Nancy, we talk about this all the time, that NPAF, the National Parks Arts Foundation, you know, is open to all genres of art, all mediums of art, whether you're a playwright, a poet, a musician, a songwriter, a painter. You know, I could go into a long list of things, but this is the actual playwright that's actually come on board, and very excited about that. He's accepted. Alan has got an amazing career, and we're excited to chat with him. But I encourage you to go to nationalparksartsfoundation.org, because there's all kinds of opportunities for artists. So check that out. And Alan, your website is Alan Olejniczak. Welcome, and tell everybody how to go to your website. You get to spell. I pronounced it. You get to spell it.
So it's alanolejniczak.com. So it is ALANOLEJNICZAK.com.
Cool.
I like that. So it's like Ola,
Me too.
Ole at the beginning also.
Yeah, it's like Ole.
Yeah.
I like that. It's a good name. What is your ancestry that brings that beautiful name?
It's Polish.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. We'll see if the name serves me well as being an artist. It's hard to pronounce.
Well, listen, you got your last name. I think it's cool. I'm glad you keep it out there for people too. But
thank you.
Librettist. Come on, I need help. I need help with that. Now explain that, because you're a playwright. But doesn't this go towards the world of opera?
Yeah. So it's funny. Most of my onstage experience has been singing in opera choruses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I have this deep love of opera, but I sort of got into playwriting. And then the opportunity came around to actually write one myself. And I love it. It's a completely different way of writing. It has its own traditions. But yeah, I think I'm going to stick with it. So I've written several so far. Yeah.
Cool. That, and so it's really dramatic, and someone always gets killed, don't they, on opera?
Generally, it's opera. So, things that you would get away with in opera, you'll never get away with the movie or a play.
Okay.
You could fall instantly in love. Death scenes last for 20 minutes. It's just, yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, before we started recording our segment today, I said, hey, I wish we were all sitting having wine together, because I know where you are in that beautiful, we call it the Art B&B in Hawaii, that beautiful, this awesome home with the beautiful view of the ocean. Don't you think we should be, you come from a background of wine. And so wine, that is, that's interesting too. But now I want to know what the pairing would be. Like if we were sitting in person with this conversation, what would we be drinking that would go with the view?
Well, I actually visited Volcano Winery.
Ooh.
And so I think that's important. I mean, just sort of where you're at, putting it in context.
Wow.
I guess there's a winery in Maui. They make pineapple wine.
Really?
And, yeah. Because why not? There's so much Chardonnay out there. Why not drink pineapple wine?
That's neat.
So, we've had orange wine made from oranges in South Africa from a place called
Sonnenblumen.
Sonnenblumen, yeah. And that was pretty good, actually.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Huh.
There's a time and a place for all wines. Yeah.
I agree. We just interviewed a lady who's just come back from South Dakota, and she drank rhubarb wine. So,
Yeah.
hey, whatever goes, whatever floats your boat, this is good. So I had no idea there
Or
was
guava
wine.
wine. Yes.
Oh, wow. I don't know about that. But guava wine, hey, whatever, again, floats
Why
your boat.
not?
I've heard about the coffee
Yeah.
being really good where you are, that's like a whole,
The coffee is excellent. And it's a little addictive. It's wildly expensive, but it's the cost of what real coffee, it's the cost of what coffee should be, which is about $40 a pound.
Wow.
But I've also, but I've also been to honey tastings, and I'm going to go to 2 different vanilla bean farms.
Nice.
I'm here because I love food, but also that may end up in part of the story that I write for the park.
Oh, this is neat
I'm
because you're
fascinated
bringing this whole other side of it, and we've had, comics, we've had musicians on the show, plein air paint. I mean, all kinds of artists that have, been to that beautiful house and been to the beautiful Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. It's been really fascinating, and everyone comes out with something completely different, which you love.
Yeah.
And what I've heard, the little birdie told me that you are going to create a radio play.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah. And so I've just gotten involved in them. I work with a company called Punch Presentations out of Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
And they just recorded a play of mine a week and a half ago. I just finished the second script. So that's in the queue. And then the play that I'm going to do for Volcanoes, they had agreed to produce it.
Very nice.
And so, yeah.
That's really cool.
So I think, so hopefully we'll come back maybe next year and then record it here. Because it doesn't make sense to bring in Hong Kong actors to play Hawaiians. Actually, that I wouldn't, you don't do that. So, but, I'm still working through the story. But now I've got seeds, and I actually started outlining something tomorrow.
Oh. Because you just pretty much got there. I know you have. We're recording this early. We always like to catch up with the artist while they're, in camp, as I say. So that's the beginning part. And I know you got that beautiful view. So does the view help your writing? That's what I want to know.
I'm going to tell you, my most productive time is in the morning. So I have been getting up at around 5:30, and waking up to the sun coming over the Pacific and drinking Kona coffee and allowing myself just quiet time and stillness just to think. And then you're amazed at what comes to you. And so I've been working on several different projects, editing, and just sitting there unlocked something for a children's opera or a youth opera that I'm working on. And so, it's a privilege to be able to get up and drink coffee and think about the day, or just think about art or everything or nothing. Yeah, this is an incredible experience.
How many people are going to come running towards, like, I want the opportunity? I know they've got a singer-songwriter opening coming up. They've got everyone go to nationalparksartsfoundation.org, and I encourage you to sign up for their newsletter and follow their social media accounts, because these opportunities come in and they get swooped away real fast. It's all how the grant process works.
Yeah, and I would say as a writer, do not be put off, because I remember looking at the application and then looking at the artists and thinking, oh, they pick musicians and visual artists, there isn't a place for me. And so I applied thinking it would come to nothing. And then I got accepted, and they're like, how do we get more writers involved with the national park? And so that's something Tanya talked about. And so apply. And if you're a theater artist or a performance artist, apply.
Absolutely. I know they also invite poets and filmmakers as well. So, but you're the first playwright, which is awesome. And looking at your background and what you've done, I mean, it's pretty amazing. The Valkill, tell me about that, because number one, that was written for the Park Service, right? The National Park Service. And so
it was originally a project with the park, Roosevelt Park in Hyde Park. And so it was supposed to be site-specific. I say it was supposed to. It actually has not been performed. It actually was performed at the William Inge Festival. So I wrote it. I had a director, and they were going to premiere it with the Family Fun Day. But the play is about Eleanor Roosevelt's fight to end lynching. And there's nothing about lynching and Family Fun Day that go together. And so, so it kind of just got dropped.
Yeah.
But that's kind of typical for a lot of what I do is things happen and then they don't. But that play was well received in Kansas, and it kind of, I believe, got me this residency. And so it was still a gift of writing that play. And so, yeah.
And once you write a play, can it go everywhere? I mean, how does that actually work? You know, we have friends who do a dinner theater, and I think dinner theater is one of the coolest things ever, honestly. Don't you think, Nancy?
Yeah.
We talked about that. Community
we
theater.
have so much fun at it.
Yeah, and she would talk about how they'd have to get plays in, and there's this whole licensing, and the financial part is like, aye, for a little theater company. But once you've written a play, can't that go and you license it out to, and you know, like it can live on and not just be the one time?
Yeah, but I think for a lot of new plays, everyone likes it fresh and shiny, and most often these plays don't get produced. So a really good play never gets to be a fine play or a great play because it takes several productions to get it right from the playwriting standpoint. And so what looks great on the page or what fits well in the mouth may not work in a production. And so yeah.
So are you saying that once somebody performs a play, the playwright usually needs to rewrite some parts of it?
I think you would be compelled to. Like I've written plays that have gone into production, and even in production, I've continued to rewrite it. Now, at some point, you can't keep asking the actors to relearn the lines.
Oh yeah.
So you just have to let it go. And so, yeah, and you have to be careful. I remember writing some line, and it was great. And the actor initially in rehearsal said, "Oh, can we change this line so it's simpler?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." But she had already committed it to memory, and then she was forced to say this rather awkward line in every performance because she just, So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's a really hard thing. I mean, Nancy's a an artist and does a painting. Nancy isn't, and even with what you do with videos, Nancy isn't at that point where you just have to like walk away.
Well, yeah, because you can overwork something. You know what I mean? That you lose that fresh, like I don't know. I don't want to say get her done, but that's kind of if you
have to get it done.
Yeah, and that's the energy. To me, that's the energy. Get her done. If you have you can take as long as you want, then that good possibility that it'll never get finished.
Yeah, or you just overwork it or overthink it, and you've lost the original fresh idea of what started the whole thing. Yeah,
I want to see Val Kill. Yeah. Okay. So where does it get to a point where a play, when it's produced and acted upon, that you can film it and then it lives on that way? Is that a no-no?
No. But I think there are two different mediums. And so what works well for the stage may not work well for film. And in fact, the play Hell, Texas, there's a stage version that is yet to be produced, but I rewrote it for an audio version, and they are slightly different. The characters have changed slightly. Things that are visual jokes, visual gags, had to be either eliminated or reworked. And so those things are not always transferable.
Okay. I think you learn. Number one, I think you got to do as much go to a live performance, even for music, it's such a big deal.
Absolutely.
Would you do a rock opera? Because Nancy's always getting musicians. She's like, you'd be perfect for a rock opera. She wants to
We need a new one.
Yeah, the revamping of the rock opera. Would you ever write one?
I would, of course.
We
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. We need one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Yes. Well, I mean, this is actually the greatest time for American opera. And it isn't the big operas. It isn't the grand operas. It's chamber operas. It's small performances, things that under 90 minutes or 70 minutes. And so more new operas being produced than any other period in time in opera in the States. And it's exciting.
Wow.
When you do like the radio play, like for what you're doing for Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, you know, do you think that opera will sneak its way into that? And if so, do you find any influence from the local music?
Well, I mean, it definitely can be recorded for sure. As far as working like the local music, like Hawaiian, oh, sure, it's part of our. I don't think anybody has done a Hawaiian opera.
I know,
but
I'm just
but I
saying,
would love to
kinda
work.
cool.
I would love to work with a musician, of course.
Cool. Cool. I
don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, but I mean, you would sneak it in. I mean, that's what I was saying. Like,
yeah,
bring that in. And I don't know about Hawaiian opera. I mean, we've been on a boat in Lake Havasu, a little boat with a gondola ride, where the guy sang Japanese and German opera to us while we were on this little boat.
That was
rowed
odd.
around under the London Bridge when bats flew out. That was the coolest thing. But you know, so anything can happen. You know, when you create.
You know, as you can tell from my website, it's a lot of you want to do this? Sure, I could do this. That'd be great. And then, you know, I get into it and realize that I may not know what I'm doing, and then I figure it out. But good storytelling is good storytelling.
Exactly, and I love your photo collections. Progress, you know, the ones out in the Salton Sea. I've been on that area, and I'm like, dude, this is some trippy. I look at that and I just go like, that's where we're headed. I'm not trying to be like, you know, I just feel like that's where we're going to go. I bet.
Yeah. I, you know, it's funny. I did that series, but I wonder, like, was that really the best way to send the message through post-apocalypse and sort of, because I think now just being positive and having talking about climate change and environmental issues, once you go down that path, you shut people down. Once you evoke fear or shaming, people no longer listen. And so I think I would do another approach. But the pictures are striking. I'm so proud of that series.
They're badass. I looked at it and I'm like, that is some cool stuff. And I'm going, no, but even still, I mean, it's like it puts half the Instagrammers to shame. It's like, you know, in a way of. I think it's really creative and really cool the way the lighting is, and just that it does tell a story. I like that, and I think there's just different approaches, and sometimes you can't. You have to do it. Sometimes you have to do that to get it out of your system to do the next one. You know what I mean?
They're really compelling images. I'm actually working on another collaboration with a Hong Kong artist. Her name is Eleanor McCall, and she's taking pictures of Hong Kong, and I'm taking pictures of San Francisco, where I live. And she does collage work, and she's going to combine these. So it's kind of a Valentine or a love letter to one city to the next. And she'll finish it, we'll blow it up, and we'll do wheat paste, which is kind of street art. Something I learned when I was in Nepal. And so I was in residency in Nepal working with micro galleries. And bringing kind of art to the street, because often art can be a rarefied thing and it's for those who can afford it. And certainly opera, you're sitting in a nice hall. And but for a lot of people, they don't get access to art. They don't get to create it. And so this is an organization that I work with that works in all sorts of communities. Last year, I was in Kathmandu, and then in March, I will go to the Philippines.
Wow, this is awesome. And you've been to Iceland. You had a residency
Yeah.
in Iceland.
Oh no, I haven't a residency in Iceland next month,
Oh,
but I've been to Svalbard with the Arctic Circle, and so that
wow.
was actually career changing. And so it was 30 of us on a boat, 30 artists. We were all different medium, and we just not circled, but we kind of sailed the coastline of Svalbard in the Arctic Circle.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it was amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Like, how
Wow.
do you do that? And then you go to Hawaii, like, you know, it's like, and then I'm going to go to Iceland after Hawaii. Like, how does your body handle this? Drink
I know.
wine
I was
and drink
thinking,
coffee.
I go from one volcanic island to the next. But
That's the constant, huh?
But actually, both the Hawaii and the Iceland will be time and space where I'm kind of left alone. The other residencies have been programmed. And so there's a determined outcome, and actually the one in the Arctic was exhausting. we were always either on the boat or we were out taking these incredible hikes on the island, and so.
Now, are you doing that? I know you've got your your event. Like every artist that is part of the program, whether it's a musician or painter, there's a workshop or some kind of presentation or event. You've got yours coming up, and by the time everyone hears this, it'll be past. But you're going to be doing an event. But now, so you're going to kind of present like a little inside look at what or listen to what you're creating?
Yeah, I think I'm going to talk about my practice, which is I'm kind of all over the place, things that interest me, which is storytelling, and little snippets from Hell, Texas, which was recorded in Hong Kong, and then a little bit of the opera that will get its premiere with Orlando Opera next May. And so this is just a demo recording, and so it'll just be a sampler.
Nice. So have you been doing a lot of hiking around? What's kind of drawn? What is, since you've?
I have. I've visited all three of the national parks on the island, and I visited them at least two of them twice. And then I'm going to go back to volcanoes and then just take more in, because sometimes playwriting is not sitting in front of a computer, but just walking. I do my best playwriting walking the dog.
Okay, yeah.
Frees your mind. Yeah.
That's a good song too. Walk the dog. No.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking that.
I know it's written for a reason.
Yeah, and so
put the dog in the opera.
Yes.
Cool.
Like dogs and children, you never want to put them on the stage because they steal all the attention away. So
I know, but they're fun.
Oh, see how that is.
Yeah.
See how that is.
Yeah.
This is so neat.
But,
go ahead.
No, I was just, sometimes just you have to let an idea just work itself through. I've already worked through 4 different stories, and kind of working, and just it helps to take long walks and to surround yourself with nature, and it's just a beautiful place to be.
I know, it just every picture I've seen of the area just in video, I'm just like, I want to go there. When you're creating all of this, and then it's produced, and you said you're going to come back and actually record it and everything. Once it's recorded, that's something that can live on as when it's an audio play that people can listen to, and even the Park Service can utilize, right?
Yes. And so hopefully that'll sit on iTunes or SoundCloud, but yeah, it'll be
something out there for everybody.
Yeah, and what makes theater magical or live musical performances is it happens just that once, and you need to be in the room for it to happen. But that's not scalable. It's hard to produce a show like that. It's very expensive. Where these actually can pay for themselves. Hopefully.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And so when you record these, so to do an online radio play, I know we've done some of ours that have just really been like, we're having fun and being silly. We did it all online. Nobody could see each other. Right now we have Zoom and videos and all that kind of stuff, so we can see each other at least. Doing the sound while you're doing that's a little difficult, but Nancy's done a lot of, post-production work on things. But when we were doing radio plays, I was able to do sound while we're doing this and reading our scripts, and no one can see each other. At one time we did them live, which was really, really funny. But when you're doing this, you're actually, everybody's in the room together, right? Like old school. Like, you remember how they used to do the plays in the 30s and 40s in one room? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think Nicholas Atkinson, who's the director, I think he had imagined, I'll get my friend in London to do his bit, and then my friend who's in Amsterdam to do it, and then we'll get an American actor, and we'll just piece it all together. And I think the sound designer just said, don't do that. You'd have to use the same microphone, and you can't adjust. And so she actually flew one actor out for that. And they produced it in a small room together.
Nice.
And I think you get a lot of, you get a little better energy when you're in the room.
Yeah. And then musicians send clips to each other and everything. But to me, there's this, it's like getting a live album versus, that the studio part's good, but there's got to be some kind of, energy there. You need the energy. I think, and I don't know, and perfection, I take energy over perfection.
I do too. Yeah.
Well, that's good, because there's no such thing as perfection. I have a
quote about that on my website.
You do? Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's from Taylor Mack. It says perfection. Virtuosity is for the hopeful, and perfectionism is for assholes.
Yeah, because
sure. Yeah,
okay. No, because there's just no
I love that. It frees you up. Then this has to be perfect. This has to be.
How boring is that?
Perfect. And all art is eventually abandoned. It's never completed. And so when you're always looking for perfection, you have to learn to let go and move on and create something else.
Exactly.
I think that's what nature did with evolution. It just kept going, looking for perfection, and it's still going to keep going because it didn't get there.
Exactly. It's interesting because the perfection thing, that's where, you want to have integrity, but I don't think you can have integrity to art if you are also holding the same boat as, you can't have perfection and integrity in the same room. It just doesn't, they don't hold hands very well, It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's a thief of joy too.
Mm-hmm.
Just always looking for perfection, or people who go to theater or opera and they're like, well, it wasn't quite perfect. Well, why do that to yourself, and why do that to the performers when, what makes it special is not perfection. But
what somebody thinks is perfect, somebody else won't think is perfect. So,
Yes, that's true.
This is so cool. I'm so glad you're there. And I'm so glad you're the first playwright. This is awesome. You get to have standing ovation for you. It's awesome.
I know we pieced that together. I'm like, you're pulling my leg. Like, are you sure? They're like, yeah, we're sure you're like the first playwright. And so that's awesome. That's a feather in my hat for sure.
I love that.
I will work that forever.
Yeah, you should. Well, I think all these residencies are amazing. Are they, when you have something like this, I know what you're going to Iceland next, and you've done, Nepal, but having a full month in a place, it's kind of an interesting thing to be able to just kind of absorb and just be in it instead of running around. You know what I mean? There's that breathing space for art, and I think that's a unique experience, is to be able to have that breathing space as an artist, so that you really can create without clutter and drama and people knocking on your door.
It's certainly a privilege, and nothing that I take for granted. And I think when you're a playwright, it's enormously difficult to get your work produced, and that's a fact. I feel like I have also rounded out my resume by taking these residencies, instead of sort of lamenting, I have this play that I love and nobody loves it as much to produce it. Well, I'll just make something else and I'll go on another residency. And so they've just been an important part of my practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
That's
nice.
cool.
Very nice. What led
Yeah.
you to this? I mean, was this something that started as you know, in your youth? I mean, and then wine said, "No, come here to the grapevine," and then you said, "I'm putting the wine down. I'm going this way." How did that flow?
I think so. I was a sommelier for 12 years. Ended at the Ritz-Carlton, and then I became a special educator
Nice.
for I believe 16 years, and that had played itself out. And then I had saw a developmental play reading, and I'm like, how did I get a degree in theater and not know how plays are created or developed? And so I thought, oh, I'll write a play. Like, how hard can it be? And it's really the hardest thing I've ever done. Now it's much easier because I've put my time in, but it was just sort of a personal challenge. And then once I started, I became kind of obsessed with it, and I just love it. And so there was a point where it was time for me to end teaching. It was having to do with certificates and being an out-of-state teacher, and California basically asked me to start over.
Oh, screw that.
And well, yeah, they seemed
then.
surprised when I said that too. Yeah, they were like, yeah, you need to go back to college for 3 more years. I'm like, I have 16 years experience and a master's degree.
Yeah, that's why I said, yeah, that's enough.
Isn't that weird?
But
yeah.
I had a good time when I wasn't that teacher that was like, why are they still here? And so, but yeah, I'm definitely proud of being a teacher, and my students have gone on to be incredible successes. And so,
you know, I think when you're going from teaching, we are ambassadors for a program called the 8 Keys of Excellence, and it teaches youth the 8 Keys of Excellence: integrity, failure leads to success, learning what balance is, commitment, taking ownership of your actions. And it's an amazing program. And Bobby DePorter, who started it, got us in at Super Camp. She co-founded Super Camp, and it's a world leader in summer academic achievement programs for youth. And she had us go to Quantum Learning Network, her conference center, and sit in with teachers. And it was really interesting because, you know, we were in the teachers program, and we found the mind mapping and everything that they did, these exercises. Okay, we're not teachers, but the connections of how a teacher has to get the attention of the youth or their students, you know, no matter what age, actually. It's really connected, and it is an art form in a way, if you look at it that way. So do you think that
teaching is
helps
art.
you? Yeah. Do you think it helps you with writing a play? Because it's storytelling. How do you get anyone to understand or learn something if you're not putting it into some kind of story form?
Yeah, I agree. And in fact, so many of my experiences as a teacher just inform what I do, and they end up, playwrights are thieves. They will take your story. You have to be careful when you're around them. And so, in fact, I have one monologue that I'm quite proud of, and it was based on an interaction that I had with a student. And so you're never quite sure what informs, but I think, did I answer that correctly?
No one's judging here.
Or at all?
There's no judges here. You already got into the program, and we're not judges. We're not good at that.
You're like,
okay.
If you cut me off while I'm driving, I'll judge you. You know, but it's all good. It's all good. No, but I think
you'll know when I judge you. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, but no, and I think it is a storytelling. There's a connection. You know, if you're going to teach, you've got to make that connection, just like you do.
You have to engage. And the thing of it is we are programmed for storytelling. I mean, it's kind of what makes us human. And so, I mean, what does a child ask for? Oh, tell me a story. Read me a story. Read it to me again. And so, as long as you know, this goes back to us sitting around the fire, Stone Age, telling stories. You know, we love stories. And so. And
we had such good outfits back then, too.
I know.
And hair.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Look at my loincloth or my,
What do you think?
Yeah. Look at, so there
Make me look fast? Yeah.
Yeah, really. No. And I think the story was in it. And the storytelling was, if you're going to portray an animal, it'd be 100%. I grew up, in tribal situations and a tribal lifestyle in Kenya, and the storytelling, that
key.
it was key. It was everything. And you didn't have to speak the language to understand what they were saying. And you're so mesmerized and you're enchanted and you're like, wow, inspired. And that's it. That's what I think is so amazing about the arts and performance, and is how it can change you. You could go from a really cruddy day judging people on the highway to suddenly watching a play and being, watching this, and then it can change your life. It can change your whole mood, how you think. So much, much respect to what you do. I think this is awesome. Again, your website, okay, it's Alan Olejniczak, and it's Alan, Alan, and it's O-L-E, like Ole, like Ole. And it's JNICZAK.com. I just want to say that sounds like, CZAK. He's got his own radio station, .fm. No, but very cool to connect with you. I think this is so exciting.
Thank you.
And just please keep us posted. We, on Twitter and all, whatever we can do, so people can stay abreast with what you're doing. I think it's very cool. Everyone, again, the National Parks Arts Foundation, go to their website, nationalparksartsfoundation.org. Again, like I was saying, get on their newsletter, apply. And you know what? A lot of the artists that we've interviewed over the years, they've had to apply 5 times, and then they finally got their residency. Every situation is different, and so don't take it personally,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, just keep moving forward, because no one's really judging you. Even though they have judges, they're not really judging you. It's just about what's going on at that time, and
Well, there's many reasons why they program the way that they do, and so they probably wouldn't pick 2 composers in a row. So, and so it has nothing to do with where you're at. It's what
more. Yeah, it's more what they. Where
but
they're at.
Your craft needs to be, you have to be at, have a skill set, there's.
Yeah.
You do. And you also have to be at a point where you can actually take a month off.
Yeah. That's a thing too.
So if you were, I do this part-time, or this is something casual, this is probably not a residency for you. This is what I do full-time. And so the fact that I could take a month off, or it speaks to where I'm at professionally. So.
Well put. That's really true. Really true. Also, everyone, go to the park and nps.gov/HAVO, Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. And
it's amazing.
We want to go. We got to go. I want to go to that house, man. I want to have my coffee looking at the ocean. I just, tropical paradise, volcanoes. It's like awesome. We always like to play music for our guests on the show. And, normally we play music that's connected with Hawaii. But today I had to change this up as we're talking. I'm going to play our favorite song from Red Wedding. One of the very first glam punk bands in the 70s. They're awesome. Anyway, so Spider and Michael did a lot of music and a lot of the sound work for our shows, and have done plays with us, right, Nancy? They were the naughty ones.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway, this is a song from Red Wedding. They're one band, Red Wedding, and it's called Fiction Theater. So enjoy that, and you can get their music. Go to michaelandspider.com, and you can learn more about their band and their story. But also, everyone, don't forget, keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. We are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Episodes go live on those dates, and you can listen as they go live or anytime later on demand. And the best thing to do is sign up for our newsletter. It comes out once a week with articles, interviews, and, of course, our digital magazines as they come out every 2 to 3 weeks. So thank you so much for joining us, Alan. It's been a real pleasure. All right. Thank you. And here it is, everyone, Fiction Theater.
Skin slips into black and rose.
lights up a cigarette. She puffs, she blows. Max stands on a corner. She feels no shame. She's a money-making machine searching for men of fame. When you're down and out, you take the highest bidder. Under the blazing moon rays. When you're down and out, you take the highest bidder. In the streets of fiction theater. Another night of pimps and John's benediction. It's an eternal play, a habit, an addiction. Another sad production, the same tired lines. But she must produce in a race against time. When you're down and out, take the highest bidder. Under the blazing moon rays. When you're down and out, you take the highest bidder. In the streets of fiction theater. Baby, pull the shades, untie the sash and night. Slip into a costume and come give me a bite. This mattress is a vessel, you sail down the Nile. Your blood is like wine, and a victim for my pride. When you're down and out, you take the highest bidder. Under the blazing moon rays. When you're down and out, you take the highest bidder. In the streets of, in the streets of, in the streets